What's good, YouTube? Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can be reminded anytime I drop a video. Also want to shout out to all my new subscribers. So the episode pretty much starts off with Eva being on the phone with her husband, Mike. They're discussing pretty much her pre-labor terms and conditions. Dr. Jackie put her on bed rest for a week. We know last week she went into pre-labor, but still no baby just yet, and still no good storyline. So I'm not sure why she's a peach holder. She should have just been a great friend of the show. Moving on to Miss Cynthia Bailey. Cynthia and her husband, or soon-to-be husband, Mike Hill, are discussing his new book and Cynthia's concerns about his past. His past has not always been an honest one. He mentioned in his book that he struggled with being faithful in relationships. He's never really been faithful to a woman in a relationship until Cynthia, so she's concerned to how she's the exception to his dating history. But they're going to work it out through counseling. And she says, Cynthia says she's here to stay. She just needs, counsel, which I agree. I think anyone that's in a long-term relationship or serious relationship should sit down and do some type of counseling, especially if they're looking forward to getting married soon. But we're going to move on. We finally see some Nene and Greg. And we know, of course, they cut Nene out of the season slowly but surely. But we'll move on. Of course, they're discussing Kenya Moore and how she tagged everybody in an invite for a charity event, but did not tag Nene.
She tagged everyone, including my husband, and not myself. It's like petty on a whole new level.
All the couples was tagged. And I originally thought that she didn't tag Nene because Nene might have had her blocked, but Kenya actually just didn't tag Nene because she don't fuck with Nene like that. And Nene feels away. I don't understand because she don't mess with her either. Hey, if y'all have a charity event and we don't deal with each other, I can make a donation from a distance if I feel like it's a probable cause, but I don't even know if that's the right word to use. But if I don't want to show up, or if I don't deal with you, I'm not going to show up to no event to support anything you got going on, and that's just real life. But of course, we know this is for TV, so it's a little differently. But I wouldn't be butthurt about somebody not sending me an invite if I don't deal with them on a regular. So Kendi and Kenya orchestrated a event for all the ladies to come together and play adult kickball, which I thought was a great idea. And the motivation behind it was so they can all be on one accord before they go on another girls trip. Now, everybody was there except for Nene and Tanya. We had Shamia, Candy, Portia, Kenya, Marlo. Even Marlo brought a friend. The pregnant girl, Eva, was there. She even brought a friend. I can't remember the name. I know Marlo's friend name was Jamie. She had a fade. But anywho, I'm not sure why Eva showed up. She can't participate, but I'm pretty sure it's in her contract to be around the girls and filming. Even though she doesn't really give us a storyline. That's on Bravo. Wasting the check. Anywho, Eva is making it a point to shade Shamia, talking about why she dancing. This is kickball. Let the girl have fun. Like, why is you not up walking the tracks? You just there. Anyways, for a group of 40 plus women, some of them might be in their 30s still, but for a group of 40 plus women, they are in pretty good shape. Like I said, Kenya orchestrated this whole ordeal, so they are the captains of the kickball team. Of course, Kenya's team Twirl, and Kenya, I think she said they were the Hurricanes. Kenya's team ended up winning, and she had Marlo on her team, which is interesting because her and Marlo don't get along, but she decided to pick Marlo, and their team ended up winning. They all sat down and did like a group hug thing, and that's when they announced that they were going to have a group trip. And Candy made it a point to tell them that everybody was invited. And
I'm throwing the invite out to everybody. Okay, we need that.
Then Kenya in a confession saying that she doesn't want Nene to be invited. She's not here for Nene. And of course, that's obvious. But Kendi's inviting everybody. I can't remember if I mentioned it already, but they're going to Athens, Greece. So that's what Kenya and Kendi are taking the girls. And it's a group of other girls that are at this kickball event. So I'm not sure if they are going to be part of this trip or they just part of the game. Who knows? But we know Eva cannot go because she's having her baby in about a week.
In the next couple of weeks. I can't go. Yes.
And it's not healthy for her to be traveling with a newborn baby or before she gives birth. But now I really hope that Bravo does allow some of these new girls or friends of the show girls to come to this trip, because we need some new faces. Like Funky Dineva said in one of his previous reviews, we definitely need at least 2 new peach holders next season, because I'm tired of looking at the same girls. We just need 2, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, we speaking of friends of the show, whatever happened to Giovanna from Clark?
I mean, I was that bitch. I was Giovanna from Clark. CAU.
I mean, she left that airport in Toronto, and we don't know if she made it back or what. But anyway, I digress. The next thing, we pretty much see Cynthia getting on the phone with Mike, and they would discuss how she doesn't want to continue to have this kind of drama and how they need to work on their communication, because she felt like they left the previous conversation they had about his past dating history not on well terms. So she wants them to be able to communicate better and, all together go to counseling. And Mike actually set up a counseling session already for next time when he comes to Atlanta, because you know that he travels back and forth from Atlanta to New York. So he planned to already sit down with a counselor when he does come back to Atlanta, which I think is great. Cynthia's up for it, especially after the progress Portia and Dennis has made with their counseling session. So I think it's really good. Then we see Kenya and Mark. They took their baby Brooklyn to a swimming lesson. I think it might have been her first swimming lesson. Now, Mark and Kenya are very awkward together. They're like a couple, old married couple that's been married for like 40 years. Like, he throw jabs at her and she takes it. It's kind of weird. Even the whole submerge underwater thing, that was like a dark joke. I wouldn't joke with Bay about nothing like that. I don't know. That was very weird. But anywho, they discuss how they want to link up with everyone for Mark's charity event. He's throwing a charity event for Black brothers. I think that's what it was called, but it's for Black men to show young teenage youth how Black men can be successful and what they look like. Hopefully Bravo catches some of that event on film, because I want to get the details of what's going on with that. Anyways, they discuss how they want to have a couples date night to invite everybody to the charity event. Now, let me rewind just a little bit. They've already sent out the invitations. That's the post that Nene was not tagged in on Instagram. And Mark expresses that he's cool with Greg and he wants him to be part of this charity event despite the drama and beef Nene and Kenya have. Kenya says if it's a problem with someone, Kenya says if she has a problem with someone, her husband should too. And I totally agree. I totally agree wholeheartedly. ATL is full of Gregs and people like Greg. Mark is making it his purpose to be disrespectful to his own wife by allowing her to be in an uncomfortable environment with somebody that she clearly doesn't deal with or want to deal with. So I would never put that pressure on Bay or anyone that I truly love or like. That's just, it's toxic.
I feel very uncomfortable being in an intimate setting with her when she has not addressed the fact that she has tried to fight me, called me names, she's cursing me out on, yes. She got in my face pointing and people had to hold her back. You shut the up. You shut the up. You shut the
A lot of people get people's face. I don't really want to fight. But anyway.
Period. So anyways, everybody meet up for the date night, and it's at a bowling alley. Kenya and Mark, of course, are the first one to show up because it's their event. Kenya mentions how she's happy to be out with Mark. It's like a romantic date night. He kind of avoids that whole conversation. He blows her off pretty much. And it's kind of, I feel like he's trying to embarrass her for some odd reason, but it makes him look like an asshole. Yeah, she looks like she's really submissive and she's not herself, but I don't think she's doing anything wrong as a wife. He's doing a lot wrong as a husband, though. Anyways, all the other couples show up, including Eva and she's not there to bow or to participate. So I'm really not sure why she's showing up. Her husband doesn't even show up with her. Cynthia shows up alone. Todd and Candy are there, and Portia and Dennis are there. Portia asks where's everybody else, and Kenya said they wasn't invited. And Candy, Miss Bone Collector, she said, well, actually Tanya was invited, but you told her not to come if her husband wasn't going to be there. Mark mentions everyone should have been able to come, whether they was going to bring their spouse or not, because it's for his charity event. It ain't on no petty shit. So he did make that a point. Portia, Cynthia, and Eva talk about how this is a great thing that Kenya's husband is doing, and they're having a separate conversation to the side. But soon as they're talking about Kenya, Kenya walks up while they're discussing her, and before she comes up, they talk about basically how Mark has her on a leash. And when Portia, excuse me, I'm talking too fast. They talk about how he has her on a leash, but Portia finds this opportunity to let Kenya know that she feels a way about how she's been doing Tanya, and how she called her a
There was something unfortunate that happened and both of y'all went there. Really was unfortunate. Oh yeah, you calling my friend. It was pretty unfortunate.
word. Now, I must have been living under a rock or something, because I didn't know saying the C word, and I'm not going to say it here because it's not something that I know too much about, so I'm not finna, be crucified for using a word that I don't know too much about. Maybe it's just not my environment, my culture, but I've been called worse in my Cynthia Bailey voice. Anyways, but nevertheless, I'm glad Tanya got Portia, though, because the other girls are not going to go up to bat for Tanya. They see how Kenya has been doing Tanya, especially bringing that cookie lady around. That was really messy and messed up. In hindsight, looking back on it, it might have been funny when I first saw it, but in hindsight, that's kind of cruel, very cruel. And then I guess if you did give her call her the C word, and it's really disrespectful in some cultures, then you're out of pocket, sister. And I like Kenya. She's one of my favorite on the show, but we got to call a spade a spade. Anywho, so I'm glad Portia stuck up for Tanya, because the other girls clearly were not going to do that. They thought it was a joke. Anyway, Mark expresses that things is not always about her. His charity event is bigger than the issues that she thinks she has with Nene, and they need to put their differences aside to become greater for the kids, or whatever with Dwayne. So Mark is definitely running the houses, obviously. Nene and Greg finally show up. I'm sure Nene decided to show up or come late because Kenya left early to her event last week. That's very obvious. And why is Nene always in blue jeans and a V-neck? That's probably why she didn't want nobody to go in her closet, because it probably was full of hangs and fruit of balloons. Anyways, Nene goes out of her way to start to greet everyone, including Kenya, and she literally tried to hug Kenya. But Kenya leaned in for a hug to Greg and then sat down when she tried to hug her the second time. So I thought they were really funny and shady, because if I don't deal with you, I'm not finna fake the funk. I don't know why you came over here talking about some hate. Anywho, soon as Nene comes, Cynthia and Eva decided they were going to go ahead and leave. So yeah, Nene know how to clear a room. But anyway, Greg comes up to Mark and says he basically feels a way that his wife was not invited, and he basically tells them that anywhere that he goes, she goes. Anywhere that she goes, he goes. That ordeal. And Mark let him know, I don't got social media. I invited both of y'all as a couple. So I don't got nothing to do with what Kenya did on IG or whatever, because he don't do that Instagram stuff. And I hear you, brother, because Greg shouldn't even came up to me with that bullshit. Greg is 80 plus, and he got an IG. My grandmama ain't even got no IG, but that's a different thing, different conversation. Anyways, so Mark is basically telling them that he don't do the IG stuff, and we are doing this for the kids. We're going to put our differences aside. And everyone is basically poking fun at the fact that Kenya is submissive to Mark, blah, blah, blah. Who's not submissive to their husband? So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about how their husband treat them, though. Like, I don't think Kenya's doing anything wrong, period. Maybe y'all hoes need to sit y'all ass down and be a little bit more submissive to y'all men, too. And they probably wouldn't be running the streets like Dennis and Ty be doing. Anywho, Nene tries to have a conversation with Kenya, but Kenya says maybe another time. And my whole thing is like, Nene really would not be pressed to have a conversation with Kenya if she did not view her as a threat, or if she wasn't so isolated amongst the other women. Last year or the years before, Nene never went out of her way to like this apology tour that she's been on these last couple of episodes. She would never have done that, but she know that Bravo is phasing her out, so she's trying to phase herself on back in, and she's trying to do it in like this I'm on my spiritual journey shit way. No, girl, you're fake and phony. You wear blue jeans and t-shirts everywhere you go, period. Anyways, y'all drop down in the comment section, let me know what y'all think about this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe. All right, bye.
And don't contact me to come meet you and whatever else food your ashy feet. Okay, bye, Portia. Okay, bye, Ashley. Have a nice day. Bye,